Although you read in the newspapers that the Eurozone's kind of recovering, it's not. They're at the bottom and they're going to grind along the bottom for a very long time. And the one thing that's going to carry on happening is that the debt burden for these countries is going to be absolutely massive for generations to come unless the debt is wiped out. And people who are idiotic enough last week to buy the latest Greek bond at about a 5.5% yield are basically engaged in a dash for trash. They're looking for yield wherever it is in the world, and they're not prepared to ascribe credit-checking quality control to their investment decisions. The fact of the matter is that Greece went bankrupt just 2 years ago, and Greece is still bankrupt with 220 billion euros owed, which is massive in the context of their economy, to the European Central Bank, and they will never be able to repay that. Never, especially in a deflationary environment. So the spread of these bonds over the stronger bonds like the German bonds or the British gilts or the US treasuries is absolutely ridiculously low. Now, we haven't played in these markets before in terms of shorting the peripheral bonds or going long the peripheral bonds, and it's a shame that we didn't actually, because they've done pretty well. However, that game of pass the parcel is coming close to an end. And I haven't got this as a recommendation, but I would say if you do any Greek bonds or Portuguese bonds or Spanish bonds, please sell them. Please sell them. You're going to lose money on that. That is a trade that's not going to work. And it's the dash for trash. It's the hedge funds trying to make a quick buck. It's the levitation of the increase in money supply that's applied all around the world, really except in the Eurozone, where the ECB still pursues a ridiculously tight policy in the face of massive economic decline. Now, the deflationary effect of their policies is quite evident. Last month, Ireland had a minus 5.6% CPI, minus 5.6%. Portugal, Greece, and Spain are having declines in absolute prices. This is not a sign of a healthy economy. This is a sign of a moribund and unrecoverable economy. Europe absolutely needs reflation, and I do think that is going to happen sooner rather than later. I said that last year as well, and I was wrong, but I do think that you can be short the euro today, and I've used my internal jury continuously. You can be short the euro today. It's only risen by 3% against the dollar in the last year, so it's not a massive swing. And be confident that at some stage, instead of being 138 against the dollar, it'll be 120 against the dollar, because there is no other way out for the European smaller countries, which are absolutely mired in poverty and no hope. And one of the worst features of this Eurozone collapse is that the brightest and best people in Europe are serving you coffee in Pret-a-Manger. They're working in McDonald's. They're in Starbucks. They've migrated from Spain, Portugal, Greece, Italy, France, because they can't get jobs in those countries where youth unemployment is between 50 and 70%. They are the treasures of their nation. Their parents have spent fortunes on bringing them up to be doctors, engineers, highly qualified people, and here they are working in London for peanuts. That's a real national tragedy. And we are living through this. We are seeing this in London. One of the reasons that we have low wage inflation in London is the influx of lots of these people into this country. It's a tragedy for their country. Social mobility is good, but not because you're coming from an absolutely destitute country where there is no job provision. Sooner or later, Europe is going to have to do something about it, and I think it's going to happen either this year or next year. And in that context, I think, with my internal jury switched on again, that we can make some money out of this. There are mountains of debt that mature in 2014 and 2015. What's going to happen to that debt? Do people have such short memories that they think that Greece is going to repay the money they just borrowed last week, having just defaulted 2 years ago? The memories of the financial participants in the world is just beyond me. Surely they must read some history, or are they all chasing very short-term profits, as Terry said?